Hello my dear soldiers, how's everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Well, today we're diving deep into Final Fantasy VII Remake Chapter 6, Light the Way. In this chapter, although once again it is a bridge to the main mission or to the main story, it's a chapter filled with hidden details, symbolism, and a deeper connection to the game's overall themes. It is actually fun to see this part of the game because in the main story, or the OG one, we do not have this chance. So let's do a quick overview of what's covered: hidden lore, foreshadowing, and theories about what this chapter means for the future of Final Fantasy VII Remake, Rebirth, and the last part of the game. It's a chapter that, well, most of us played, and I personally found it very boring and not easy at all to do this. And all the gameplay and all the thing that we did in hard mode. So after the first gameplay, we did the new game plus. So on hard mode, this section is a bit dull, very quick to do also, but it teaches a lot. You know, why does Sector 4 matter so much to the story and to everything related with Final Fantasy VII Remake? So Sector 4 is one of the few sectors that still somehow is operational. You know, unlike Sector 7, which we know gets destroyed. So this is one of those that, personally, it will matter in the long run. Long run for the story, long run for the lore, long run for everything. This is where Tifa and Barret deepens their bond with Cloud as well. You know, we started to see somehow a better relationship between them. You know, Shinra's Mako harvesting operation here shows how they drain life from the planet without care. And of course, we're talking about the sunlights. And Shinra says, you know, the sun lamps, not lights. And it's just amazing the amount of Mako. And then Barret says that, you know, the Sector 4 will be punished because of this mission as well. Of course, Barret comes to the save saying that sooner or later that will happen. But we are now really hurting, quote unquote, people that are, you know, below the sun lamps. It will all turn out to be dark. Why is this important? Well, the theory is around the lore that could Sector 4 be a test run for Midgar full control? Unlike Sector 7, there's no known resistance here, making it easier to maintain. Can this be a test run for it, for more experiences like we saw on one of the chapters where we get to see the various experiments that Shinra does? So here there's no resistance, although it's the only part that we are on Sector 4 is above the slums. You know, it's not even up above. All of this, we can see that Shinra neglects every single thing, you know. We see monsters around here. We didn't fight a single Shinra soldier. So in this section G, mid-level, on this, in the mid-level means that we are below the upper plate and up above the slums. So in this symbolism of this channel, Light the Way, this chapter here. Literally, we shut off lights to move forward. But is it a foreshadowing how Avalanche and Cloud will blind themselves to the bigger threat? Whispers, Sephiroth interference, once again we get a lot of this here. And it's really important to know that once again, even in these rich chapters that we have, there are still whispers working and lurking outside of the screen. So this can probably mean this Light the Way chapter can now actually be already the whispers in Sephiroth working against the fate. Of course, one of the things that we deeply see in all of this chapter's bridge is the fact that Barret's passion and anger against Shinra is just off the charts right now. You know, Barret is frustrated, angered, and of course he always maintained the sense of duty as an Avalanche leader, if you want to say that, at least on this cell. But Barret's anger at Shinra here is at his peak, you know. His dialogue makes it clear he's fighting for the future of his daughter Marlene. Not only that, but for the future of the planet. But does he know by now that the path that he's, you know, following is his own, or is the fate one? What the whispers want him to do, think, and feel. Of course, all of the Final Fantasy VII Remake relates about it in these bridges chapters, you know, but you can see in the other videos that this video is way smaller because it is what it is. It's a bridge chapter, but has true meaning, you know. The theory in this one is Barret is unknown following a path set for him. We all know this, you know. In later chapters, close to the end, we'll see even more of that, you know. The remake's theme of fate versus free will could mean Shinra anticipated Avalanche moves from the start. Once again, we discussed this in the very first chapter. We know, or we feel, right, that all of these bridge missions, since the very beginning, Shinra knows about everything. Shinra is surveilling everything that, you know, these guys are doing, that Avalanche is doing. Whether it's Barret, Tifa, or even Cloud, they do not see that, and it's incredible how they don't see that things are just too easy. And I understand that they plan things ahead, they do all that, but can't you see that Shinra has everything set up for the party? Everything is being monitored by them. But, like we said, Barret, right now, as the leader, can't see that, and is blinded for the hate that he feels against Shinra. One of the connections to the original Final Fantasy VII, you know, Midgar is a quick opening section, but here the game is forcing us to see how the city functions. Of course, adding depth to Barret's cause, which was one of the best choices that the devs could have made, because no doubt about it, Barret has a beautiful and amazing story. Not only that, Barret is a great character to have in the game. And going deep in Barret story-wise in this chapters, I think it's amazing what they did with that. One of the things that we also need to definitely keep in mind is the fact that the sun lamps and the Mako extraction right now also is impacting everything that Barret feels about Shinra, because it's the main source. No, it's the main problem with Barret and Shinra is that, well, of course in the OG we know that it's not only that problem, but you know, it takes a toll. So in this mission we shut off sun lamps to progress, but why do these lamps exist at all? Well, this is not a big thing. If you think about it, this is just artificial lightning. You know, easy, right? It's a way that they can have light to do their business around the slums. But could it be that, or just the theory that Shinra playing God, controlling both day and night? Once again, going towards the Shinra metaphor that they are controlling everything around Midgar and the people cannot do anything. We always knew that Final Fantasy VII as a geopolitically thing going around. And playing God and controlling everything is just Shinra MO. It's easy to figure that out throughout not only Final Fantasy VII Remake, but in other games as well. Although in Final Fantasy VII Remake, this first part is, you know, it's the biggest time, the biggest scenario that we see in this main game is that is Shinra continuing controlling everything, well, with no remorse, no worries, no nothing. Another key moment, the power rerouting mechanic mirrors how Shinra takes Mako from the live stream and converts it into energy for the rich. Once again, the only thing that the slums have is these sun lamps that we're now resupplying to get past by it, to open doors. We need to put the Sector 4 slums to the darkness in order to progress into the mission. And one of the things that we talked about it, especially in this part of the game, in this chapter, we talked previously about why is this area left so unguarded? You know, no Shinra soldiers, lots of monsters around, and you get like the sentry guns and some sentries, not mechs, not anything. We're talking about a powerful part of Midgar. We're talking about the sun lamps. Do they not matter? Well, as we could actually have in the last point, is the fact that Shinra is playing God, controlling both day and night, and rerouting power for the rich, so they don't care about the slums. And we can see this throughout the game and throughout, well, everything that actually exists in Final Fantasy VII Remake. What we need to do is, you know, turn off the sun lamps and just carry on. Or can it be that this section no longer a priority because they've already harvested what they needed? Well, it could be that as well, but then again, they need to keep the sunlights on, or the sun lamps on, for the slums. But then again, maybe the Sector 4 slums now, it's not worth it to keep, or they were just careless, that's it. It can be that. One of the things that we also see in this chapter is the enemies. Now, and we have a few enemy lore around here. So, for example, Queen Grashtrike is an optional boss here, which we didn't cover on this video right here, but its presence is interesting. You know, in the original Final Fantasy VII, these insect-like creatures never appeared in Midgar. Ever. So, why are they now? What happened? Is it because this game wants to show the impact of Mako energy being drained off the planet to fulfill the needs of the city? It's just a reminder of the environment danger that Mako actually has on the game. So the theory is that Shinra's Mako extraction may be mutating wildlife, forcing creatures to evolve unnaturally. And that's not, you know, strange, because in chapter 5, if I'm not mistaken, we talked about this. And we see Barret saying, it's not these creatures' fault, it's Shinra. It's not Mako's fault, it's Shinra. So he strongly believes that Shinra extraction is actually hurting also all these insects and animals and everything around that. That ties into another big Final Fantasy VII theme is this. Mako not only affects humans, but also warps nature itself. And in this chapter, we can actually see that happening a lot. Could this mean we'll see more Midgar exclusive mutations in future remake parts? Well, maybe on the third part of the game we will see that. Because if you think about it, we will come back to Midgar. We don't know when though, but we will come back to it. It's only a matter of time. And, well, hopefully they get to put the secret key so we can enter Sector 5 slums again. I don't know if that's gonna happen or not, you know, but it would be fun. So, in the next few chapters, we will continue to see, a bit of mutations. But after this, inside the city, you don't see a lot of those, well, animals, if you want to say like that. A good thing that Shinra does here to protect this area, you know, and some, well, hidden details on this is aerial drones and the defense turrets. Why does Shinra keep automated defenses here but barely any human guards? Not barely. In this chapter, there's not one single Shinra guard. Except by the end, by the very end, you get a place with Shinra soldiers. Not even on this structure here. The biggest theory around this, and one of the parts that we most have, and we will see especially in intermission, is the fact the reliance on machines may hint at Deep Ground and Ojo's secret projects, which play a massive role in Final Fantasy VII intermission and beyond that. Well, can happen because we know that Deep Ground is a big part of Final Fantasy VII Intermission, which we will cover as well as soon as we finish covering all the main chapters here. And we're trying not to expand a lot on the secondary missions and stuff, focusing more on the lore in the story and of course in individual chapters. And this being a bridge chapter, we need to address it as well. But Cloud's flashbacks and slight discomfort can also be a trigger here for what? Mako poisoning, or it's already Sephiroth's influence already creeping in his mind and making, go other places, and even trying to remove him from the main storyline, from the main timeline. Well, or maybe there are two sides of this part, which is Sephiroth in one way trying to take Cloud out of the real timeline, and then the Whispers creeping in as well, pulling him back to the main timeline. So it's like a confrontation of the two inside someone's head. So it can't be easy. It cannot be easy for Cloud to manage these things, let alone to do that during a mission. And of course, being this mission important one, because that's the short way to go to Mako Reactor 5. Well, not the short way for Avalanche. It can seem very difficult to Cloud to master all of that. So, what does all this mean for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and beyond? Which is one thing that we're going to start to approach as much more as we going towards the end of Final Fantasy VII main story. 7 Remake, of course. We're seeing the cracks in Shinra's empire, but also ends and bigger forces controlling events. We have the Whispers manipulation, Sephiroth's manipulation. I got a crazy theory as well about it, which I'm gonna give you a hint. I think Ojo from Shinra knows also that we are in a different timeline. And more than that, I think everything that President Shinra, Heidegger, Scarlet, and every single Shinra committee is doing is because Ojo is influencing that. Could it be? Well, we don't know. It's not a fact, but I strongly think so. The lamps shutting off, it's Avalanche short-term victories leading to unexpected consequences. Foreshadowing, Sector 7's fall. So it's like Shinra giving them small victories, and then later on the game, we all know that Sector 7 just collapsed because of Shinra's orders. The theory here is, could this entire sequence be a test for Cloud and Barret? Shinra may already be analyzing their movements and planning for future encounters. Well, this is one of the theories that I don't know, but a lot of people and a lot of other Final Fantasy VII fans been telling to look on it. It's not that it doesn't make sense, especially with my theory that Ojo is influencing everything and giving all the ends to President Shinra and to Heidegger and even Scarlet. So it would make sense with that theory. But then again, I think in chapter 6, in this chapter, is way too soon to predict that. I think later chapters will show us that in a more depth situation. So, my dears, what did you think about this video? Well, once again, I want to thank all of you, to continue to check our videos. If you missed any chapter or chapter analysis and theories, you have the playlist. You can check all of them. We're trying to post a chapter a week, although I think would be too much. And by that time, well, actually, it will not be, because by that time I think we'll get the new release date of Final Fantasy VII something. We don't know if it's Remake, Rebirth, or whatever, but we're going to cover not only Final Fantasy VII Remake, Intermission, and Rebirth on this channel. So, what do you think about the development of these theories? Tell us in the comment section below. Don't forget, of course, to check out the other videos. And are we reading too much into this, or is there much more to uncover on this kind of chapters now? 4, 5, and 6 being bridge chapters. So, drop your theories in the comments, and without a doubt, we want to thank you so much for all the support that you've been giving to the channel so far. We are 47 right now subscribers on this new channel, and we are so happy with everything that we've been seeing and doing right now. Thank you so much for the continuous help, the shares, the likes, the comments, everything that you do. And of course, if you like this, well, don't hold back. Like and subscribe. Help us reaching our goals for the year, which, to be honest, it's slowly being set. Maybe in June we'll have an update for that. But once again, without all of you, we couldn't be here, and we do this because not only we love content creation, but we love Final Fantasy VII. It's the best lore, it's the best story. Well, and some of you will get mad with me, but I think it's still the best game of Final Fantasy creations on Square. So yeah, do tell us what you think. I appreciate every single one of you. Enjoy the rest of your week. This is Simu vs. Dan from Simu RPG. We absolutely adore to do this, and we hopefully see you in the next videos. Thank you so much for everything. Have fun, and we'll see you back on chapter 7. Bye bye, guys.